ಈ ವರ್ಡ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಫಸ್ಟಿಂದ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ದ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ.
I came to present myself from Delhi government. Before that I have no expectation from this session because I didn't know.
I believe that there's so much of power that is there in this room today to innovate, to try new things, to push our creative edges, to ensure that we create a supportive community for young people to thrive in the 21st century. And I invite you all to Change the Script 2017.
I've participated in conferences before, but not similar one because this has a very different format and it's been a very interesting way of looking at things now.
I think the session with the young people, that was very motivating, and it was wonderful to hear them talk, share what they have in their minds without inhibition.
ನಮ್ಮ ಲೈಫ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿನ ಒಂದು ವಾಟರ್ ಫ್ಲೋಗೆ ಹೋಲಿಕೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಅದು ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇತ್ತು ಆ ಪಾರ್ಟು. ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಬೀಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಎದ್ದೋಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಆದರೆ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನೇ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು. ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
My personal agenda was to try to communicate the usefulness of the life skills assessment scale and the psychological processes that happen for young people when they face adversity.
The session on the assessment framework, that's very useful for us because we've been looking at how we measure our work. That helps us in two ways. One, it kind of validates our thinking, that obviously is, and also tells us that there are opportunities to work together. And that's a great learning because you really don't get that a lot.
Henry's session this morning about the paradigm shift in how the world is functioning.
Society, whole society is changing. We need the perspective shift.
Young people saying, give us the autonomy. It's not that we are being rebellious for no reason. Allow us to critically think, to decide what we want to do.
Specifically, if you're talking about disadvantaged environments, I think the challenge is that we're playing catch up all the time between their academics and between their emotional development and social development. The issue is that we'll always play catch up unless we find a way to get ahead of the problem.
It's this need, to create more spaces for young people to gain that whole experience of affirming who they are and to say you have dreams and there are ways you can achieve those, to create spaces for them to turn that dream into a hope and that hope into actual steps for them to achieve what they want.
Because we've been working in traditional ways for too long. We've been protecting our spaces and territories for too long, whether we call it organizations or logos or branding or whatever we call it.
Certainly the need to have fluid teams and not just one leader, and trusting everybody to be a big person and contribute their own thing.
I'm looking forward for this, sharing their visions and their ideas. In fact, we want to invite some organization in Delhi government and this community to impart their ideas in our community, in our school system also.
If you don't change the script or the narrative, you're feeding into the present context, which you don't believe in, which you think is flawed or which you think needs to change.
We have a report that came out from the World Economic Forum this time last year, and it said 65% of job types that Dante and Zane are going to assume don't exist. We have to actually prepare them for a world we can't see. For the first time, really, because we're just now emerging from the world of repetition. So now we are now moving into a world of permanent disruptive change. How do you prepare young people for the world to thrive in disruptive change?
The agenda is to build a network of change makers and influencers, and there are other agendas like asking the government to change how it thinks about education.
It's exactly like, 5 people working on very different things in different corners. It's all divergent. I think we've got to find that convergence somewhere, and it needs to happen that way.
we've failed, we've picked up the pieces, learned from what we did, and we've kind of understood certain process which now work. So we can share these things with anybody who would be interested.
And really find some shared values, because if you have shared values, so instead of focusing on the differences, it's like, what do we all have in common, so that we can work together towards that.
Scale not just as an independent, how do I scale my work, but how do we work together with others to scale this whole thought process, scale this idea, to transcend boundaries of government and NGO.
I think we just have to be honest and genuine about our work and just get it done with other people, because we need to change that script.